Scribble, just like any new technology, when we apply it to our classroom, we need to have a purpose and an assignment to go with the new technology. In this video, we're going to talk about a few ideas that you might have for your future assignment that you can work with your students. Whether you're an elementary or a secondary teacher, encouraging your students to close read a document and engage with the text is sometimes a difficult proposition. We want students to read the text closely, examine plot, ideas, structure, and highlight and annotate. And sometimes with a text, whether it be a printed PDF, a digital document, or even a book, sometimes students have a hard time recognizing what's the best possible strategies for them. With Scribble, the strategies are clear. Students can highlight, they can change text color, they can add comments, they can encourage commenting between groups or pairs of students, and all of those comments are then stored and shared back with the teacher if the student shares that library. It makes annotation and close reading a much easier proposition for teachers to encourage that idea with your students. So a lesson plan that might work with this is uploading a short story or an article that your students are going to read in class through the PDF viewer in Scribble and sharing that out with your students. This might not even be a full assignment in Scribble, but just a document that you share with the students and ask them to annotate either as a group, all of us on the same document at the same time, or individually on their own, and then you look at what is popular in terms of the annotations on that document. Another thing that might be difficult for students is knowing what to annotate or comment on in a document. Whether it be a novel, a short story, an article, or a piece of poetry, some students might look at that document and ask themselves the question, I know what I think is important, but I'm worried that what I think is important isn't what my teacher thinks is important, or what other students think is important. So one of the ways to get around that and to help students encourage them to work with the text and to share what they think is important is to share annotations that the teacher creates with the students. In Scribble, teachers can create a library for their class, pre-annotate an article with comments and ideas, and then share that out with students to guide them through the process and share with them the ideas that might be important, or ask them prodding questions about a particular passage, paragraph, citation, or idea within a text. It creates simple and engaging structures for our students to jump in with. An example of this might be, for instance, uploading an article for a science class and annotating through the article what are the specific ideas relating to the concept that would help the student to understand the overarching idea within the SEED standard. Students, particularly in younger grades, might have a really difficult time jumping into research processes solo. We as teachers may encourage them to jump into writing a research essay or annotations a bit too early in their process. Maybe they don't quite understand why or the how of why we're doing this project. So Scribble understands that and encourages teachers and students to share research, share libraries, and encourage group work to help build process and competency within research processes. For instance, students can create their own library and add articles to it, and then share that library out with other students as a group or as a partnership to create a structure for an overarching project that they might be doing in a class, or possibly to get some thoughts or ideas from their fellow students. An example of this assignment might be that teachers will encourage students in a Genius Hour project to create a library of the research articles that they're excited about and what they're reading or viewing to help understand their concept for Genius Hour, and then ask them to share their library out with at least one other student and engage in the process of a dialogue about what is important in that concept, that idea, that research area that they're working with. Thereby asking students to not only create something that is useful for them in an ongoing Genius Hour project, but also to ask students to explain and verbalize their main ideas about the research they're working with to another student. This not only helps students with their research skills, but also their speaking and listening skills, which is a standards group in many discipline areas. As you can see, there's many different ways for teachers to use Scribble in their classrooms to help students engage in the research writing process. You need to decide, as a teacher, what works best for your classroom. Is it a long-form Genius Hour project? Is it a short annotation project for one day? Or is it something that is completely new and innovative for your classroom? In this unit, you're going to explore exactly how you want to use Scribble in your classroom as part of a lesson plan for your students to engage them in the research writing process. Enjoy!